Hi guys, Dr. Dan Nightingale here, your clinical dementia specialist. I hope you're all having a good day, a good week. I certainly am. Thank you for joining me today on this video as we talk about one of my statements, one of the quotes that you will see often each day on Facebook and Instagram. There's usually a couple of them throughout the day. And the one that I want us to focus on this video is create a calm, noise-free environment for people living with dementia. It's very often important that people have some clarity in their life, in their world. People living with dementia can be distracted, they can find things agitating, they can find things frustrating, they're dealing with their own internal stuff. They're dealing with their own internal self-confidence, self-esteem. They're trying to find ways to live and navigate through this journey that they are now on. So it's absolutely imperative that we kind of keep things calm and relaxed as much as we possibly can. So when there's a lot of noise and a lot of clutter happening all at the same time, it's so confusing and it adds to the person's frustration and agitation, and it can raise their anxiety levels, and therefore we can end up with unwanted behaviours because the person who is living with dementia doesn't want to behave in a negative way. They're not trying to do that, so we need to have a little bit of insight into their world. We need to be able to step into their reality. What is happening for them, with them. Their life has changed. They lose a bit of their facilities, their cognitive awarenesses. So let's think about that, and let's make sure that we have an environment that isn't just clutter-free, but is conducive to that individual's needs at that time. And remember, people change. Sometimes they might want a bit of noise. They might want to listen to some loud music. They might want to go to a party, or they might want to go to a football game. Things where there's lots of people and lots of activity and lots of noise. Depends where they are at that moment. Remember, we must always meet the person where they are. So where they are today is where we meet them today. Where they are in an hour's time is where we meet them in an hour's time. So always bear that in mind. When it comes to things where we want people to focus on something in particular, let's talk about breakfast, lunch and evening dinner. So mealtime experiences. We want the person to focus on enjoying that meal. So how do we do that? How do we get that environment? Well, let's make it quiet. Let's maybe play some background music, which is known for helping people to be calm and relaxed. Something like cavatina, or something like weightless, yeah.
Classical music.
Anything that reduces people's anxiety, anything that gets the person to just focus. Try not to have too much conversation at the dinner table. And I know dining experiences in general are socialization opportunities, and that's okay, but we really want the person to focus on enjoying their food. Sometimes as the journey goes along, it becomes difficult. Eating, nutrition, diet becomes a challenge. So we always want to make sure we can encourage the person to enjoy their food and have a really good, positive meal experience. If people are living in a nursing home, which is really busy in the dining room at meal times, we need to calm that down a little bit, and we need to have some music, and we need to have something on each of the tables for people to think about and enjoy and occupy them whilst they're waiting for their meal to come. Sometimes in nursing homes you will see people being assisted to the table, they sit down, the meal isn't coming yet, they get up, they walk away, somebody helps them sit down again, agitation is building, frustration is building, So let's do what we do in restaurants. We walk into a restaurant, we are greeted politely, kindly, led to our seats, we are given menus, we are asked if we would like a drink, and in some places there are activities on the table. In a number of places where I go to, there are paper on the table where you can just doodle, draw and things like that. So then they will often bring some bread whilst we're waiting to be served our meal. So let's think about how we can, adapt some of those processes into the situation of a dining experience. But that's just one example. There's other times when people sundowning. If people are known to sundown, which happens later in the afternoon, if we know what time that's happening, then we can make sure we are proactive, and we can make sure that the environment is not noisy, is not loud, and we support the person in a very calm, relaxed manner by having a cup of tea and a biscuit, or by having a conversation, or watching a movie, or listening to some music. Something that helps the person maintain their level of calmness. And everybody's different, everybody's individual. We are all unique, dynamic, ever-changing selves, and that's what we have to think about. As I said, meet the person where they are and help them maintain whatever they feel is an appropriate, calm environment right now. You may be able to hear Buddy, who is snoring right now, which he does very often, and it usually gets louder than that. So it's all part and parcel of life, of real life. I'm here with Lynn, of course, and I wonder if Lynn has any questions or comments or statements she would like to make.
Well, I think some good information would be possibly to give people a limited number of choices when it comes to what they want to eat at that mealtime, to make it more simplistic and easy and not so complicated, and realize that their tastes change. Dementia can affect how food tastes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And what they want to eat.
Yeah, but again, it's meeting the person where they are,
right?
And what are their needs? Where are they in the level of AD, activities of daily living, and instrumental activities of daily living? When they get to a point where we do need to make things more clear and communicate more clearly and restrict the amount of choices we give to people, then that's using flashcards or just showing the food. Would you like the meat or would you like the fish? But yeah, absolutely important to do that. Everything we do is all about maintaining an element of control for that person, empowering that person to be as independent as possible and maintaining their own personhood and their well-being. So whatever strategy is required at that time is the strategy that you employ. But very good point, Lynn.
Yeah, and maybe you have a tradition. I know the holidays often I think about, you have a tradition of we're all gonna have this meal and we always make this every year and all these people are gonna be here, and you might have to adapt things as the journey progresses because the amount of commotion might be too much, the type of food might be too much, or just people are graduating high school right now in the US, and maybe your loved one won't be relaxed or calm. It might be too much chaos, and you're just gonna have to think about making changes and adapting. Like you said, meet them where they are, but that's every aspect of their life.
Yeah.
Every aspect.
And always focus on the individual's strengths, abilities, competence. Focus on those rather than the losses. We can end up worrying about somebody's losses, and a worry is something that you're thinking about in the future. It isn't right now. So focus on the here and now and the present moment, and think about, what's happening this moment and where the person is now. Because, in some forms of dementia, like Lewy body type dementia, somebody can fluctuate from hour to hour or day to day in their abilities, their competencies. And I think we have to kind of bear that in mind. Even with people with Alzheimer's, that is the same. Sometimes there's this massive insight and this massive awakening of ability. So we must always recognise that. Traditionally, when anybody's written a care plan, it's always talked about the needs first. So many years ago, back in the UK, I worked in turning that around and changing that from, let's focus on the strengths first. What are your strengths before we look at your needs? Because every medical model and every nursing model, Roper, Tierney, Logan, they're all needs based, and they always look at what you can't do. What are your needs? So we need to focus on the strengths. Yeah, that's how we live well with dementia.
And that's person-centered care.
That is true person-centered care. Indeed it is. Yeah.
Very good.
Okay. Well, thank you for listening to us today. It's always a pleasure to get in front of the camera and talk about my favourite subject. So thank you for listening to me. Please share this video with friends, family, work colleagues, collaborators, just everybody. The more people that subscribe to this channel and are educated, it's all about education, the better it is for everybody in the world. If you want to contact me, please do so through Facebook. You can follow me on Facebook, you can follow me on Instagram, send messages to me, ask questions, and you can respond to this video on the channel here. Go to the website, drdanielnightingale.com. You find me on Google, wherever, whatever you need to do to contact me, feel free to do so, and we are always happy to help.
And if you have a suggestion for a topic you would like Dr. Nightingale to cover, please make a comment or send a message, and we'd be happy to address that topic on another video.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a fantastic week. And before you go, remember and say it with me, dump the soda.